how aware are you of your language? How aware are you of what you say to yourself and what you say to other people? Because language matters. And we learn that as a kid in school. What your words matter. Words matter. They absolutely do. They matter. So, how aware are you of them? Like Tony Robbins said in there, right? There's words that we use that change our biochemistry, that will heighten an experience for us. We attach different feelings, stronger feelings to certain things that maybe don't allow us to then design our ideal life, break out of our comfort zone, like all the little things. And so we have to become aware of it. He said our words shape how we think, which shapes how we feel, which shapes what we do, which shapes the results or the outcomes that we get in life. Ergo, our words shape our outcomes. I say we change our thinking, we change our life, but your words will help you change your thoughts. Your words will help you change your thoughts. If you speak better things, if you speak good things, you'll get better outcomes. So be very intentional. Again, we talked about this before I turned on the video. We have to be intentional about our lives. We have to be intentional about where we're headed. We have to be intentional about these things. We can't be like the masses and just let them slip by us. In the text, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets says champions thrive on world-class self-talk. World-class self-talk, right? Learning how to use your language better. That example that Tony Robbins gave of, right, his wealthier friend that, again, more calm, a little bit more centered. And then you got the other guy on the other side that's really passionate, and just hearing the difference of their words when they're taking in the same event. The same exact thing is happening to all of them. All of them are going to be affected. All of them have a stake in the business. All of them are sitting in the same meeting, hearing the exact same things, right? Potentially feeling the exact same ways, but they all expressed it differently. And that had a complete, right, a direct correlation to how they felt, to what they were experiencing, to their biochemistry, to the outcomes, to what story they attached, what meaning they attached to that story. So how do we change all of this? Our self-talk, our words, our words. Here's what it says in the text. It says, self-talk is what you say to yourself all day long, yet it's also how we say it. For years, philosophers, psychologists, and performance experts worldwide have known about the impact self-talk has on us. That being said, average performers are oblivious to what they are saying to themselves and how it's affecting the quality of their lives. The pros have always been aware of the power of language and programming and reprogramming the human computer. Dr. Shad Helmstetter, in his magnificent book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, writes that up to 77% of the average person's self-talk is negative. According to Dr. Helmstetter, we spend our lives talking ourselves into and out of things. Champions believe and embrace this idea. As a matter of fact, the easiest way to know you are in the presence of champions is to listen to them. The world class has spent years overcoming poor programming, and this process usually begins with the use of language, both with themselves and others. The great ones believe almost anything is possible simply because they have repeated that idea and others like it to themselves for years. To quote Dr. Helmstetter, repetition is a convincing argument. Developing world-class self-talk may be the most powerful of all the mental toughness secrets of the great ones. Like most of the habits, traits, and philosophies in this book, it's so simple that it's often overlooked. As a result, amateur performers continue to perpetuate amateur language with themselves and others. Meanwhile, the great ones create ideas out of thin air, convince themselves achievement is possible, and then go out and make it happen. Repetition is a convincing argument. Say something long enough, loud enough, people will believe it. Right? It's just language. It's just words. It's just what we say over and over again. Here's where it gets dicey, though, is because we hang out with people, our circle, the 5 people we spend the most time with, our family, they all have language as well. They're all using their words as well. And even if you're just taking it in, it's affecting you. Even if you're just taking in poverty mindset or fear and worry and doubt. I mean, gosh, you're about to don't go on social media today, right? From after the election, right? Like, geez, don't take in any of that stuff. Don't take in any of it because the language will program your emotions. It'll program what you're feeling. My mom doesn't like it when I talk about her on these things because she eventually gets a chance to see it, right? Or she finds it somewhere, right? But I have to because these are all things that happen in our lives. And right, we live with our mom, my mom. So anyway, I was having this conversation with her just less than a week ago about politics and about where her fear level was. Because all she was doing was sitting and kind of consuming a bunch of political stuff, consuming a bunch of it. And it got to a place where she had like an emotional kind of, outburst. And I was like, where's this coming from? Like, why are you fearful that you, black woman in the US, is going to get deported? Like, what are you listening to? What are you thinking about? Like, why is this happening? And we got to the point that all she does is she was watching a bunch of political stuff. And I was like, hey, for the next week, like up till today, like don't watch anything political. Like don't look at a commercial, don't watch a video, like don't do anything. And watch how it lowers your heightened emotions, your fear, your doubt, your right, because what you're consuming, what you're listening to, the language that's being spoken to you. And because of that, as a result, right, like it calmed her down a bit. But also on the other side, when she starts taking that in, that becomes the language she starts giving out to people. Becomes whatever we're consuming, we start to give to other people. So think about the people that you, right, are listening to and then you go off and kind of repeat similar things. You repeat similar phrases, you repeat similar mindsets. This is why, right, again, we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Good, bad, and different. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If my daughter spends the most time with her gymnastics girls or whatever, she starts talking like them. When she starts listening to a lot of things on, right, kids are very impressionable. When she starts listening to a lot of things on her iPad, she starts talking like them. She starts like speaking like, well, that happens to us as adults. We're just unaware. We're just unaware. Like it says, that being said, average performers are oblivious to what they're saying to themselves and how it's affecting the quality of their life. We're just unaware. Awareness is the first step to change. So you want to get to your ideal life, you want to have better outcomes, you want more success financially, in your health, in your faith life, and whatever it is, you have to first become aware. And now we have to get to work paying attention to our language, paying attention to the words we're speaking to ourselves, because we're talking to ourselves all day long. We're talking to ourselves all day long. You talk to yourself more than anyone talks to you. The voices, the thoughts, the things, like it's constant for you. So by the way, if you haven't read the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter, it's a really good book. But inside of there, if he says 77% of our self-talk is negative, 80% of our self-talk is negative, what are we doing to reprogram that? What are we doing to counter that? Or we're just going to allow that to happen? Because again, for us, can't have negative talk and live a positive life. Can't go out there and build the life that you don't need a break from and design your ideal life and all the stuff we're here to do if we speak poorly of ourselves and to others. That's why it has to change, so we can get better outcomes. Changes the way we think. We don't attach very strong emotions to things that don't need to be strong emotions. It's okay to have strong emotions, but we can't attach them to every story, to every experience, because that just becomes our life. So being aware of what we're saying to ourselves first and foremost, and then being aware of what we're saying to other people. This is why associations are so important. This is why getting around good people or getting away from people that are not kind of in alignment with where you're going is so important, because we will pick up those things. This is a form of programming. We will pick up the language. We will pick up their mindset. Like there's some people in your life right now that are just, they might be going through a rough time. God bless them, right? We want help. But like they might just be very, very negative, and they've been that way for a very, very long time. You can't consume that as much as you want to be a friend to them, like a family member, whatever. Like you can't consume that because you will start to take on those thoughts unconsciously. Unconsciously, your brain's going to start to see the things that they are telling you they see and they experience. The other side's also true. You get around people that have the life that have an aspect of the life that you want. Let's say you want to fix your relationship, you want to fix your marriage, you want to whatever. Get around people that have very successful marriages and listen to how they speak about their spouse. That's it, right? Get around people that are really successful in their relationship and listen to how they speak about their spouse. Listen to how they compliment. Listen to what they say about them when they're around or not around. And I bet you it would be different than your language if you're not experiencing that in your relationship. What about with money? You're around a lot of poor people, a lot of people that just haven't gotten the financial information that they need to get to the. You listen to like what they're saying, it's probably what's keeping them in that place. Get around someone that's successful with money and listen to how they talk about money. Listen to how they communicate about it. Listen to how they talk about investments or savings or what's happening in the market or whatever, the economy. Like if they're already where you would want to be, take their language in. Take their language in, because that's what will change our thinking, that will change how we feel, that will change what we do, that then changes the outcomes. If you think differently about money, you can get a different outcome with the money. If you said different things to yourself and to others about money, finances, health, relationships, spiritual life, like whatever it is, if you said different things, you'll get a different outcome. Question is, are you aware? Are you aware that your words are putting you in this position? Are you aware that the words of the people around you are putting you guys into this position? Because it says, right, average performers are oblivious to how this is affecting their quality of life. Oblivious. Some of the things that you might be dealing with might just be because of the words you're speaking out to others and to yourself. You have all the skills you need. You have all the resources you need, right? You have all the knowledge. You're applying the knowledge. You have all the stuff, but maybe you're not aware yet of your self-talk, of your talk track, of what your dominant conversations are with you, of lack, of not being enough, of fear, of scarcity, of judgment, of whatever those things are. Maybe we have a lot of those things in there. So we got to rid them. If we want to, again, talking to us, we want to go off and design our ideal life. It's not for everybody. Not everyone wants to do the work of paying attention to what they're saying, what's coming out of their mouth, what they're consuming, what they're saying to themselves. Not everyone's aware, but we have to be aware. We have to be aware. You have to be aware for exactly what you want to go make happen. You got to make sure that your language is in alignment with that. Action step for today says, begin monitoring everything you say to yourself and others. Like, sounds simple, right? Sounds simple, but like really pay attention to your language. Like really, really pay attention to your language. Really pay attention to, is this an encouraging word? Is this, right, a fearful word? There's some things that you might think that you don't have to say. Again, our parents told us this stuff, right? You don't got to say everything you're thinking. Not every thought that you have is the proper thought that needs to be shared with everyone. Even if you have something to add on to what someone else is saying, if you're consuming someone that's being doubtful, fearful, negative, have lack, all the stuff, you don't have to co-sign it. Again, all personal stories, right? I just touched on every member of my family. My wife hates this part. There's some things like my brain is locked in on doing this. Like there's some people that start in negative conversations and I don't give any feedback. I'm just like, oh, uh-huh. Like I don't co-sign. I don't say, yes, that happened to me, or I can, like, uh-huh. Because I can't engage, because then my language turns into their language. Now we're both here having this session where we're talking bad. And again, I get it. We need to vent and I get it. We need to get things out. But like when this becomes a pattern and now you're just using the same language as the people around, like it doesn't end well. So anyway, begin monitoring everything you say to yourself and others. Ask this critical thinking question: is the way I use the language programming me for success or failure? Such a good question. Is the way I use language programming me for success, or is it programming me to fail? Next, begin listening to the way people around you use language. Ask yourself the same question about them. Is their language programming them for success or for failure? If it's failure, I got to cut that off a bit. I can't really listen to that as much because I'm programming myself for success. It says here, this is an eye-opening experience. I would challenge you all to do that. I would challenge you to read the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Dr. Shad Helmstetter, and really pay attention, be intentional, ladies and gentlemen, be intentional about your language, about your words, about what you are putting out there in the world to people and for yourself. These are the little shifts. This is the little work you got to do on a Wednesday morning. You got to start paying attention and being intentional about, man, how is my language? What am I consuming? Who around me is speaking good things and who around me is not speaking good things? And maybe I should limit my time with the people that aren't speaking good things, because that's how we get to the life that we don't need a break from. Most of us are going after a life. In all honesty, we don't know people that live the life that we actually want. You might think you know someone. You might have seen a celebrity or something. You can guess that maybe people live that life, but you probably don't know the people that are living the life you're asking for. Therefore, you have to do everything different than the people that you know and that you're around if they're not headed in that direction. And this is just one of those small areas that we got to do the work, ladies and gentlemen. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. This is the work. This is the work. I'm going to encourage you down this path to keep doing the work. It is not easy. It's simple stuff. So simple. Some people overlook it. It's really simple stuff. It's not easy. It's probably going to be one of the hardest things you ever do, is to go from who you are right now to the man or woman God called you to be. And that gap in between who you are now and who you have to become is hardest part to change, but we can do it. You guys can do it. I believe in you guys. Go out there this Wednesday, do something that scares you, pushes you out of your comfort zone. See you guys again on Friday. All right. Take care.